Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the Personal Power Circle Talks with Roxane. We're going to spend some quality time here where I'm going to speak my personal truth and share and explore the messy parts of personal growth. I'm Roxane, an Ayurvedic practitioner and Reiki master with over a decade of experience in personal growth. As you get to know me, I'm a deep person, an empath, love to reflect and contemplate about life. In this talk, I will share an experience on the trip with my sister to Egypt on the topic of how to start a difficult conversation. There was a moment during the trip that we encountered some discomfort and we had to talk it all out. As always, I have my notes here on the side, and it's been exactly 3 weeks ago that I came back from the trip with my sister from Egypt. And once I got back from the trip, I got my period. Actually, a divine timing, because it was a beautiful time to take a moment to reflect and let go what is no longer serving me. This is another whole topic that I would like to talk about women's menstruational cycles, because it has a lot of wisdom in it. But that will be another talk. Anyway, back to the trip. Overall, the trip was a beautiful trip in the week, and it went so smooth. If I think about it, there were no disruptions or anything. It went a smooth sailing sail. But just to have some context, of course, it's like my sister and I are both carrying my father's grief. And at the same time, it's the first time that I'm traveling with my sister, and also just being back in this country where my dad used to live there and now he's gone. So that can be not a normal vacation trip or anything. But once we arrived in Cairo, it was really nice to be back, because everything was familiar, of course, because I've been here there plenty of times. And it was really nice to see the people. They're so friendly, and hearing the Arabic and hearing the word habibi, which means honey. It's just, yeah, it's really a nice country, I must say. And during the week, we just explored Cairo in a different way. And it's strange. It was strange to be in Cairo, even though my dad wasn't there anymore physically. So then it brings me to how to start a difficult conversation. Well, okay, this is from my life experience. What I've gathered to start a conversation is first of all to have open communication. And what I mean by that is that you just really listen to what the person is saying, tell your personal truth with no judgment. And it sounds simple, but doing it and listening is just can be tricky. Sometimes we just tend to overtalk, or to not listen what the person is saying. And then to be on the same page, it's helpful to summarize what the person is saying, and then to deepen the conversation is just to ask questions about it. And so in my opinion, this is what a framework can be to start a difficult conversation. What are your thoughts? Missing any pointers? If you're watching on YouTube, I'm curious, comment below. And what can be also very helpful to start a difficult conversation is to understand, maybe for yourself, or contemplate about this, is what exactly defines a healthy relationship. And for me, I like to refer it back to this Indian ancient philosophy of the chakra system, and especially the second chakra, which is the sacral. It really deals with how to have a healthy relationships. And if you're able to have a fulfilling relationship, you can set healthy boundaries. It's the sacral chakra is located deep in your gut. In the physical way, it's the pancreatic glands, the stomach, the digestive organs. And in the energetic and emotional quality of sacral is a sense of belonging, social relationships, creativity. And if you're curious for the other chakras, this beautiful person, Aluna, explains it clearly on her YouTube channel, and I will leave the link in the show notes. And there will be another talk where I will go dive deep about the chakra system, because that framework really gave me perspective and a beautiful framework to understand yourself and also the emotional part of it. Anyway, let's dive straight in when it happened that that my sister and I had this conversation. So again, bear in mind, first time traveling with my sister, visiting our dad's workplace, but still dealing with our dad's grief. This was not like a normal trip. So it was until when we reached to the workplace where my dad worked. The people working there had a surprise for us to remember our dad. And again, it was not planned at all. It was just divine timing. And once they revealed the surprise, we talked to some people, and one particular person just hit me, where she shared about her husband's experience when they heard about the news about my dad. And at that moment, he's not showing his sadness, but he got hit with sadness too. And with my empathy and sensitivity, I could just feel the sadness. And at the same time, to hear the fact, once the people heard about it in Cairo, the police, the neighbor, the local cafe, even the local shops were in deepest empathy. And discovering this made me realize that, wow, my dad left a big impact in Cairo. And I learned a new side of my dad, which, I didn't know. And once we went back to our hotel, that's when this sadness wave came up. And I still remember like experiencing the first sadness wave. And my first reaction for myself, I was so scared of it. Like, what do you do with this big, giant emotion? But eventually I got used to it, and then also learning that it will come and go. But still, in the process of figuring out how to communicate it with grace rather in the victim and express my needs towards my sister. It is challenging, especially if you're staying too long in the sadness because your ego likes to be in the story. I did at that moment express my need and told her I need some space for myself to feel the sadness wave and just let go. Well, once evening arrived, I communicated with my sister. I am able to have dinner together with her. So we went to one of those restaurants where we went also with our dad. And once we got there, we saw some people that we knew. And at that moment, the people invited us to join. And I must say, at that moment, I should have expressed my need to my sister that actually I'm so not up to it. Let's just have dinner for the two of us. Because in the morning, with this whole emotional morning and looking back and also I was not in this social headspace. However, instead, I sensed that my sister wanted to join, so we joined the people for dinner. And honestly, these people were so nice and friendly. Maybe it was a good distraction after the heaviness in the morning. But looking back, for me, I was very disappointed at myself that I did not express my need earlier or set a healthy boundary for myself. And I could have left the dinner way early if I wanted. But instead, I just stayed all the way at the end and And then as a result, I lashed out to my sister once dinner was over. At that moment, my sister was holding a giant mirror where I went again over my boundaries and expressed my anger, disappointment towards my sister. And just to be honest, yeah, I was in this victim mode, and credits to my sister. At that time, she was cool and collected, and I'm proud of myself that I could at least express and spoke my truth to my sister, what really was going on, even though I didn't want to talk about it, of course. And in the back of my mind, I had these points to have an open communication. The old Roxane, yeah, would have walked away angry and not talking about it and be resentful about it. So that's an unhealthy way to deal with that. Instead, I expressed my personal truth, which is always a challenging, nerve-wracking, because you're just being vulnerable and expressing your heart, even in this podcast, just to speak my personal truth. It's nerve-wracking in my experience. Anyway, so eventually the result, we had a very honest conversation, and I must say I learned a lot about myself and my sister's point of view. It was challenging to start, of course, but what I've noticed, sometimes you need to do these difficult talks because as a result, you will understand the person better. You have a deeper connection with the person and learning a new perspective that you never ever thought about. And overall, I'm lucky because my sister and I have a good relationship. I mean, she knows me very well, and we experience similar upbringings. And what I always advise to my sister, if she's going through, is to have open communication. Really, communication is very important. It is, and also just let's just be human. It is very normal to have friction with family members because they know you the longest and they care as well. And yeah, just don't forget to give yourself grace and compassion. And remember back in the day, I remember back in the day when I wanted to start a difficult conversation with my entire family, my sister, my mom, and my dad. And during that time, if I look back, I was just too much in the victim mindset, and my emotional regulation was not stable at all. And looking back, I did not have the tools, which is to stabilize my emotions and speak my personal truth. I didn't know how to do it back in the day. So my question is, when was the last time that you had to address a difficult conversation? Or let's reframe it, to have an open, honest, vulnerable conversation with someone. I'm curious, if you're watching this on YouTube, comment below. And if you're feeling called, sometimes you are in need of a guide to support what you're going through, or need of a mirror. That's where you grow. I'm honored to share Reiki to serve people. Reiki supported my grief process and my personal emotional regulation. I'm calling in 3 people who wants to experience Reiki sessions with me in person in Amsterdam. Experience your natural state. My website is live. Check it at personalpowercircle.com. And if you have reached this far, I appreciate you, I see you, and you are enough. See you in the next one. Bye.